So what is the best wide-angle lens for Sony E mount cameras? In this video, I'm gonna be sharing why the Tamron 17-28 f2.8 lens is the best choice for you based on some ratings of different categories that we're gonna get into in this video. Hey guys, my name is David Johnston. On this channel, I help you improve your landscape photography, plus show you how to make money from it. So if you're into that, hit subscribe. Now, let's get into this. If you've never heard of Tamron before, they make some really high quality lenses that weren't always the case, but now in the last few years, they've really stepped their game up to provide you with the best landscape photography lenses. Now, Sony shooters have the option of a lot of mirrorless based lenses from Tamron. This 17-28 f2.8 wide angle lens is one of those. Let's look at some categories on how this lens actually performs in the field. Let's talk about price first. So if I just right now look up Tamron 17-28 f2.8 lens on Amazon, the price comes in at about $800. So you're looking at a pretty inexpensive, high quality wide angle lens here. Now, if I type in Sony wide angle lens, a pretty standard, really good high quality wide angle lens from Sony, a 12-24 f2.8, so similar specs as this one, you're actually looking at $28.98. So you're paying well over double the price of this lens to get this Sony G Master lens. And in my opinion, the quality is just the same. The specs are the same too. So for me, price gets 5 stars on this lens, and that's no shock from Tamron because they're pretty much built on accessible, high quality lenses for photographers who want professional results. Now let me just pause right here and say I'm not sponsored by Tamron at all, so don't get that in your mind. This is just a really high quality lens that I've used for the past 4 years for my landscape photography. In just a second, we're gonna get to more ratings plus the overall rating of what I give this lens. If you're liking what you're seeing and you wanna go ahead and look further at this lens, I have an affiliate link in the video description as well as in the pinned comment, so check that out. Next, size. Size is always a huge thing for me because I want smaller lenses that allow me to go more places, and I also want lighter lenses too. This is actually a very lightweight lens. Some of my Sony lenses that are, granted, feel more durable are much heavier and much larger than this lens is. Now we'll get into durability in just a second, but for size, this really can't be beat for a wide angle lens. If I take the lens hood off, you can see how small this lens actually is, and all the zoom is internal, meaning that all of the dynamics of this don't zoom out and prolong this lens, make it larger. Everything is done in the lens body, which I think is magnificent for any kind of lenses. So size and lightweight for me is still slightly heavy, so I'll give this 4 stars for size and lightweight. Weather sealing is huge for outdoor and landscape photographers, so let's talk about that a little bit. I talked about the feel and quality of this lens. It does feel slightly plasticky, I will give you that, but it's not having that metal feel that a lot of the really durable lenses have. Now, I say plasticky because they have a very fancy way of saying that this is basically made out of really durable plastic. That's not saying that the optics inside are any cheaper, it's just the outside of this lens are made with plastic. Very easy to grip, very lightweight, but I did stress about the durability of this lens when it came to photographing in the elements. However, I have taken this lens out beyond what they say its limits are with its weather sealing. In heavy rain, I've photographed in windy sand dunes by the ocean, a lot of places that you really don't want to take a non-durable lens with you, but this lens performed great and still works great. It's gotten soaked in some really heavy rain when I was photographing waterfalls and still works great. So I'm not really worried about the weather sealing, but their lack of confidence in it does make me hesitate a little bit whenever I do take it out in heavy weather. I'll give it 4 stars on weather sealing as well. Now, quality for me is big, and I'm not talking about quality of build of this lens, I'm talking about the quality of the photos that it creates, because that's really all I want and how I make money as a landscape photographer. That's really what I want in producing high quality images as a landscape photographer. So how does it perform? Very well, actually. Across the board, it only gets a little bit blurry and hazy on the edges of the lens when I'm using it at full width at 17 millimeters and just on the very corners. So you could easily adjust that and improve that by focus stacking your photos. And if you don't know how to do that, here's a card showing up on your screen on how to focus stack for your landscape photography that's going to give you tack sharp focus every single time. So this does a great job in terms of quality and image resolution. I've never had any issues when I'm photographing at 20 millimeters to 28 millimeters. So 17, again, gets a little hazy right on the corners, but nothing to write home about. This photo behind me right here, shot with this lens, and you probably can't see it, but it is slightly hazy right down there in the corners. But that just shows you that even you can't really see it when it's blown up on a big print. So for quality, for me, I actually give this 5 stars because I've had wide-angle lenses in the past that didn't perform this well with how wide they actually are. Now here's some things to consider with this lens. This is considered a full frame wide-angle lens. So if you don't have a full frame camera, this probably isn't the best option for you. It is only for Sony E mount cameras. In the future, I'm sure they'll have some other camera makes that are available for this lens, but this is a mirrorless full frame Sony E mount lens. And in total, I give this lens 4.5 stars for your landscape photography. This is the best wide-angle lens that I've ever used with my Sony cameras. So if you don't have one of these, if you're looking for a wide-angle lens to purchase, go ahead and grab one of these. Again, that link to these on Amazon is in the video description as well as in the pinned comment.